Welcome to another RGN Daily News. I'm joined by Shotgun Seat Productions. And let's do this. Alright, so first order of the day. Bloodborne has been beaten in 40 minutes by a speedrunner, though, and he did admit that he was using some glitches in the game that allowed for skipping large portions of the game. How do you feel about this? I mean, just reaction-wise, like, I think personally that speedrunning is kind of cool in some games, but in most games it's just kind of dumb. Like, for example, if you're playing speedrunning a game that's all based on combat and you don't do any combat, that's not really like just, playing the
Speedrunning's
game,
cool for like platformers.
right? Like a Super Mario 3 speedrunner where you're not getting any secret stuff, but you still at least have to defeat bosses. You can't just entirely skip them. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think that speaks to anything about Bloodborne design, or do you think that's just speed running and it's just gonna happen to
Really,
every
any
game?
game could be speed run, and you can just glitch through it if you figure out how. Unless
True.
the game's like extremely well polished, but I mean, From Software, they kind of just they use like the most basic engine out there. So I mean, what's that tell you right there? Not saying their games are bad for people who like them, but I mean, the engine is like a basic engine. That's why Bloodborne on a technical level isn't exactly what I would call something that's fantastic.
Fair enough. So the Xbox One Games with Gold April lineup is here. Child. Oh, and by the way, something that you might not hear in other podcasts or sites, you can get it now without the credit card again. Just really briefly, I'll just say when I first got my Xbox One, I got the gold, Xbox Live Gold set up, no credit card, but because I bought a prepaid pack, and then I got free months off of using Bing.com as Bing rewards. And at some point, it stopped letting me get the games with gold, and it told me I needed to put in a credit card even to get something that was free. Happy to report that that's not the case anymore. You can get them again without the credit card. Not sure if people gave them feedback or if they just had a glitch in the system and never meant to do that, but I'm just happy to let people know about that. You can get Child of Light for Xbox One, Pool Nation FX on Xbox One, Gears of War Judgment on Xbox 360, Terraria on 360, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on 360, and Army of Two The Devil's Cartel on 360. So if you just got a 360 late, that's pretty sweet. That's a lot of games. If you are on Xbox One and you never played Child of Light, it's definitely worth checking out. I've never heard of Pool Nation FX, but I'll be
Sounds like a pinball game or something.
yeah. It sounds like it's from the company that makes pinball effects. It most likely is, but we'll come back to that. PlayStation Plus also got their April free games lineup announced. Tower of Guns on PS4, Never Alone on PS4, Dishonored on PS3, Aura's Awakening on PS3. That game is awesome. I saw some Steam footage of it. Not sure if it's on PS4. I think it's not, but first, that's a strange thing considering it's on PC, but oh well. That game is definitely worth checking out if anybody out there still has a PS3, which both of us do. Um, Killzone Mercenaries free on Vita. I assume if you have a Vita, you already have
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's awesome. I was actually been wanting to buy it, but it's just been I feel like that game's been too expensive. That's a big win for me.
Well, definitely time to check that out then for anybody that
Because
didn't.
I heard it was better in Shadowfall, and Shadowfall honestly is terrible. So
I've heard that too. And then there's some indie game called Monster Bag on PS Vita, which I'm not sure if it's good or not. I have no really.
never heard of it. It's probably a new game that they just make free right away. They
Yeah,
do that a lot on PlayStation.
it could be decent. It's hard for me to tell from the trailer what's gameplay and what's not. Okay, and Assassin's Creed Chronicles was announced. It's gonna be three 2D. They call it 2.5D, which is basically 2D gameplay and 3D graphics for the most part, with a little bit of depth back and forth between the foreground and the background. There's gonna be three of them The first one takes place in China and it releases April 21st, and then there's gonna be India and then Russia. This is gonna be developed by Climax Studios and Ubisoft Montreal, and is coming on Windows PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One platforms. And I don't know what to think of this because they came with a couple attempts at putting Assassin's Creed in 2D before, and it was not very good.
That was on mobile as first off.
Fair enough, but uh, I'm not the world's biggest Assassin's Creed fan in the first place, so my opinion is probably irrelevant. So what do you think about it?
If it's good, which it's hard to say. It's kind of the past few installments have kind of been hit and miss. As the first game was like interesting and like unique and had a pretty good engine at the time it came out and was kind of a little bit. It was something new, and then Assassin's Creed 2 is gonna probably be considered a classic gem here in a couple of generations. It's definitely really really good. And then Brotherhood was good, and then Revelations was like eh. Assassin's Creed 3 was eh. Black Flag was amazing. Probably another one of those games that'll be a little classic initialized a little bit. Not as much as 2, of course. And then Unity and Rogue are both like eh. Especially Unity. Unity's more like meh. Rogue's like, this is okay.
Do you feel like even though these are 2D games, don't you feel like they're putting too many entries in this franchise too fast?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
You know they're gonna come with a some type of this is the HD remastered Rogue. You know it's
that's
coming.
yeah, I've heard
I mean, I'm
heavy
not.
rumors
I
about it.
I have no confirmation at all. I just assume based on the way Ubisoft is treating the franchise, just game after game after game with.
Well, what I heard is they want to do a like uh like a pack for like the first 5 games. Like another one of those like remastered packs. Even though that's actually kind of a lot of content right there, kind of worth. I mean, kind of like a similar form to the Master Chief Collection, where it actually has a lot of games in it. Even though I definitely would probably not pay $60 for Assassin's Creed games I already own.
Interesting.
Halo was a little bit different, but
Yeah, because there's more time in between
oh yeah,
from when part one and two came out to now. There's a lot
yeah,
more
they have a
time.
3-year development cycle on their big games, and then they have like these little like
Sorry
I
about.
think whatever they're called. I had like Spartan Assault come out like I think in 2013. It was just some like little top-down shooter,
Right.
like just to keep you, I guess, for anyone who wants to play that. And then I
It's
think they have
actually pretty
another
good.
top-down. It's okay for a shooter, or a top-down shooter,
You can get
which is kind of an old genre, but it's still cool.
you can get Assassin's Creed Chronicles China for free if you have the Unity Seasons Pass. But I have a question, and each one's $10 if you don't. And they're only giving the first one free. But I have a question. Didn't they refund everybody the Seasons Pass and give them the free DLC as apology for how bad Unity's glitches
Yeah,
were?
you can't get Seasons Pass anymore, so if you already
Or is that just refunding the pre-orders for it?
they refunded your Seasons Pass, and then they give you the Dead Keen's DLC for free, which it's still free, by the way. It's always going to be free, even though it's not good, but whatever.
Somebody just said I bought the Unity Seasons Pass, so I get this for free, right?
I think he's misinformed and probably didn't realize that they gave away. He probably just assumed he still had his Seasons Pass when I let him download Dead Keen's for free. But, they refunded. I have friends that pre-ordered or got the Unity Seasons Pass, and they said they refunded it to them. Like in like Xbox or PlayStation type, I think they just put it on there. I can't remember exactly what they said, but yeah. But you're probably gonna have to pay money for this Chronicles thing,
Right.
which I mean it's a little understandable. Even though I still
A
think the
lot of
first one
people
should
are
still be free because Unity was bad.
a lot of people are kind of upset because people have been ever since the student that did the artwork of like a feudal Japan type of Assassin's Creed or in
I mean,
Asia.
that's Assassin's Creed people want. People are sick of
Yeah,
playing as
people
white people.
people are well, they're just saying that they're reusing the same assets over and over again, and that the only reason that this is 2D is because they're milking the franchise and they're unwilling to make new assets. What do
Yeah,
you say to
that's
that?
true. Why do you think they're having one in Victorian England for some reason?
That's terrible. To me, that's probably because they're all the same exact buildings
Like
that
the
they already
Black
made.
Flag or the two in Black Flag were actually ambitious too. Like created a huge like city expanses you can go to, and then Black Flag gave you like the huge like sea you could explore, and it wasn't like the same exact assets of like the towns weren't that big that you could go to except for a couple cities like Havana, but at least that one was actually an ambitious project that was made in like a 3-year cycle by another team.
Interesting. Batman Arkham Knight limited edition PS4 revealed. I'm not one for limited edition consoles. I don't really care. I mean, sure, it looks kind of cool, but if you don't have a PS4 by now, you should probably just get one for whatever one you can pick up, I guess. There's also a $50 cheaper bundle that's just regular black PS4, which is kind of weird that they're doing too, but
Why would
okay.
they compete against themselves like that?
Well, maybe
Maybe
they
because the Batman one's gonna sell anyway.
yeah, maybe they didn't make that many of that one. Trying to give it artificial rarity.
Well, let's see. They got Uncharted 4. I heard was gonna have one, but
It's
now that's delayed. So it's basically their two limited edition systems for the year are both multi-plat games, and
it's
then
uh it's also $450.
if
And
why'd you pay $50 more for something that already whatever. Like it comes with the game too, I guess. So it's a little. That's actually kind of a deal. If you don't have a PS4, you get the game for basically
you
ten
get
bucks
yeah,
less.
you get the game with the
Actually, yeah, that's a deal if you don't own a PS4.
you get the
Oh, what?
game with the black version as well.
Oh, really? Then
Yeah,
that's odd.
they're
Why
both
they?
going on sale June 23rd.
Why won't? That's like the day. Oh, that's the day the game comes out. I thought you meant for pre-order. They're probably already available for
They're available
pre-order.
for pre-order now,
Yeah.
but the standard price for these consoles is pretty much becoming 350, not 400. At least with Xbox.
And PlayStation's. I don't know
PlayStation,
if they're gonna go in that direction. I think they're just gonna keep giving. Because I've noticed they've basically just been giving games so they can still sell it for 400 bucks.
yeah, or they'll do like deals places that are like
Yeah, they don't
temporary
really want to go
and they
down,
sell out
even
very
though they
fast.
should. But
Yeah, they do quick deals that sell out very fast, I noticed. But I'm checking now. The black edition is 400 with the game,
yeah,
and the
those are both
silver
those are
edition is
both are deals.
450. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Imagine
I was,
they pull a Nintendo and you get the PS4 and they're like, no power cable, bro. Huh.
wait a minute, when was this?
I'm just kidding, because the new 3DS has no power cable. So
Really?
I was making a joke. Yeah, it has no.
For $250 and you don't get a charger.
Nope.
I've seen that it has a lot of super negative reviews because they said it's just like the same exact thing but for more. And you get the
Uh,
like extra buttons and it's like slightly more powerful but it
those are
has like one game.
those are troll reviews. Those are not real reviews. That's
I'm
that.
not talking about the Amazon reviews. The Amazon reviews, yeah, they have like I think it's got like a one
It's got
star
a
on Amazon.
1.5 star on Amazon. That's gotta be troll reviews. But
But
no.
I've seen like actual reviews of people that have like legitimate complaints. But that's not the point of what we're talking about right
Well,
now.
I mean, it's just not though. It's got a way beefier processor. If you sit there and you play the same games that can't take advantage of it, then yeah, of course it's the same. But if you play the Zelda game, then no, it's enhanced graphics, and everybody who's touched it has said so. Even people that said that it's stupid and they're not going to buy a new 3DS, they don't have any interest in it. They admit that they played the Zelda game on it and it had better graphics. So if you have twice as much processor power, it's not just or 4 times as much processor power as it does. It's not just going to be the same exact shit. But if you try to play games on it that cannot make use of that, then yeah, that's, you know what I mean. It's like the like say if you got a PS4 and it was backwards compatible, or no, bad example. Say if you got a PS3 and you plugged a PS2 game into it, and then you said it's the same thing. Well then yeah, it's your own fault. You're playing the wrong game. And there's not going to be that many games on new 3DS that do take advantage of that hardware. We already knew that though. At least for now. We already knew that.
Well, I heard there's a rumored Twilight Princess for 3DSs. Basically, it seems like they're just putting like big Wii games onto the system.
Well, that's another thing that the regular 3DS probably can't
It can't
handle it
do.
very good. Yeah, like you saw Donkey Kong Returns 3D. The thing sucks on the 3DS. It has so much of a frame rate drop. It's really an input lag. It's really not even playable. I'm upset that I bought that, especially how expensive Nintendo games are. And I was looking forward to playing a nice little Donkey Kong Returns, but a lot of their fans don't have the eye for it to even notice input lag
Because they've
and
been
frame drop.
playing on like Wii
Underpowered,
for
yeah,
years.
underpowered systems for years, yeah. But I do
Well,
PC
not
and
GameCube, but
well, yeah, I do PC and all this stuff, so I notice stuff like that. And I tried to get over it and play it anyways. It's just not really playable. I should probably sell that one, but I'm not into selling my games anymore. So even if I just leave it sitting around and hope that one day I can tolerate the poor quality of it. But I think though half the point of new 3DS XL is Game Boy Advance ROMs for them to sell directly to you, and Wii ROMs. We'll call them ports. We can call them. You know. Alan Wake has sold over 4.5 million copies. That the whole franchise, not just part one.
see, why don't they need to make part two?
That's pretty crazy. It's only on 360 and PC. That's pretty intense. And it only sold 145,000 units in the first game in the first 2 weeks. Back in 2010 when it first
Yeah.
launched.
I got it when it came out because it looked amazing and it's one of the best games I've ever played in my life, for being
And
completely honest.
the source that we have this from, which we'll put the link for, it's one of our buddy kind of our homies. uh, they've also mentioned that just to compare, GTA 5 has sold 11.2 million copies so far. So yeah, it's
On
gonna
next gen?
no in oh wait no, they mean the first 24 hours. Sorry, in the first 24 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say GTA 5 sold like over
Sorry,
40 million
yeah,
or
sorry, I said
something
the wrong thing.
insane like that.
Yeah, in the long term, it's gonna go on to sell
I think they
ridiculous.
already said it's like on track to possibly be like the best selling ever, and not counting Wii Sports because that was a bundle with every Wii. I think the actual one was like Mario Kart Wii or something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah. So basically, they're comparing it to the day one sales of GTA 5, just to show that when we had the day one sales, we were like, "Yo, that's big." So 4.5 million units, yes, that's pretty big. That's crazy.
Didn't yeah, it sold more than Ghost, right?
What?
Grand Theft
GTA?
Auto.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because that was in one day, not in a week. So yeah. Um, let's see here. I'm looking for mention of a sequel. Looking like no. They're just talking, trying to promote Quantum Break.
Well, they said they want to do it one day, but they right now they're all focused on Quantum Break, which looks impressive.
They
But
said Alan Wake on Xbox 360 has been downloaded 1.1 million times illegally. That's a lot of illegal downloads for a 360 game, which is a little harder to bootleg than PC games. That's a lot. If Alan Wake 2 even becomes more than just a possibility, hopefully we'll see the same trend.
Of bootlegging on Xbox One? Come on.
No, I think they just meant popularity, not
Oh.
bootlegging on anything. I think they just meant, people actually playing it. I have Alan Wake on Steam, so I didn't bootleg it. Silent
Definitely buy it.
Hills. Yeah, it's not that much money anymore.
It's
Silent
like five
Hills.
bucks.
Silent Hills website removes Kojima Productions logo. And so people asking the question, are Hideo Kojima still working on the horror game? And I think you have some
Likely not.
insight onto that. Yeah, it's no longer there. The Fox Engine logo is still on there, but you told me that
Well, I heard, that's what I heard. It's not confirmed, but that he wasn't gonna let him use it. Somehow he apparently owns that, but he doesn't own Metal Gear. I don't, I might have been someone lying about it, but like I said,
interesting.
there's a lot of animosity right now. But I mean, right, he probably just wants to finish Metal Gear on a high note and then get out of there.
Yeah, and
Well, at least Metal Gear Solid, because it seems as Konami's gonna, they are not willing to give up basically the only game that they have that sells anymore.
they're all
They basically poured all their money into the title there.
they also got the company Konami also deleted Kojima Productions logo from the artwork of Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes.
And the Legacy Collection, because they're still making copies of that apparently.
And the marketing for both games where it says a Hideo Kojima game, that part has been erased.
And it's also gone on Silent Hills, the whatever they like the cover art they have for that, or the course
And
concept.
Kojima,
Has not, I don't think he's even made an actual statement on everything,
it says
has
his
he?
Twitter account has been shut down, but I'm seeing it. Doesn't look shut down to me.
It's not. He just doesn't. He hasn't been on it
It's
since the
converted.
announcement.
It's like converted into a Metal Gear page. It's not like him anymore.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that he used to post every now and then like screenshots from the game, but it was like I think it was like a week before they announced what happened with him and Konami. And he just it just started sharing like a whole bunch of like links to buying Metal Gear, and I thought that was weird because he never had done anything like that before. I think
Kojima.
he only had done that once, and it was for like Zone of the Enders HD,
Oh man,
which is a sweet game,
I
but
love Zone of the Enders. Kojima made jokes. Silent Hills will be so scary you'll make you shit your pants. And he even joked at one time that a limited edition for Silent Hills would come with a fresh pair of pants.
he probably wasn't kidding.
And now his work will probably go on with influence on the game if it's completed. But I don't know.
It's probably not gonna be as good as what it would have been, as I never played a bad Hideo Kojima game in my life.
I would
Ex
think that they might keep the Fox and he might let them put it on the Fox engine. They'll just have to pay him royalties
like
for it.
like I said, I'm not
But
100% sure on what he
I'm not
kind of
either.
owns about it, but he's like a huge, he's a big part in what goes on.
He's a big he is if you know
And he's the only reason they're still around that company, and they kind of just screwed him over because of differences.
logically speaking, you would just let them use your engine and pay you. But Kojima is the type of person to just be more of an artist about it and just be like, no, I don't want anything about me on that. So if he doesn't let them use the engine, that game's probably never gonna come out, or not
Which
gonna.
is a sad thing because he's worked enough on it to the point where you could still tell that he's been a part of the game, even though they'll cut him out of everything.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. I don't see why that's completely necessary, but it's probably at his own request, like I said. Nintendo forces takedown of Super Mario 64 HD browser project. And 64 games' first level had been made playable in your browser. Well, I mean, they should have just made like a fan version with their own levels, or perhaps, you know, distributed it differently, because everybody knows Nintendo does this. I'm not saying it's right. I think it's wrong that Nintendo does this, but everybody knows Nintendo does this. I mean, it's not totally wrong though, because it's still a game that they can still sell. It's not like a super super old game. And even then, Nintendo makes their games available to buy, and they continue making new games. So I don't know. It like recently the creator of Tempest 2000, Tempest 3000, whatever, which is not the original creator of Tempest, but the guy who made the second sort of kick off for it, made something called I believe it was TXK or TXD, where it's basically the same thing as Tempest, but it's a spiritual successor. And Atari sued him for to try and prevent that from being released. And in that case,
Atari.
yeah, and in that case, I side with the creator because Atari doesn't give a shit about Tempest. They're not making Tempest games. They don't make it available for you to buy Tempest games. So they're just being assholes. But in this case, Nintendo is like fully capable of selling you Super Mario 64, and they probably will
For
soon.
Wii U eventually, yeah. Whenever they announce their N64, because right now it's selling NES, SNES, GBA, and
Which I
Wii games. I can't remember if they're doing GameCube games yet, but I heard they were gonna do N64 and they were gonna announce it some point soon and
they're
start selling you N64 ports.
they're probably waiting to get the graphics filters down just right so the graphics look good. And um, obviously they're probably not gonna be remakes, but trying to
No,
make
no, they'll just be able to play with the gamepad, I guess, in a
yeah,
way.
but the emulators they're capable of making them slightly better. But anyways, they really should hire this person who did this and hire them to make a Super Mario 64 HD remake if they're capable of actually doing such a thing at Nintendo's level, which they may not be. But I just want to say, I believe that the new 3DS is part of the N64 ports coming to Virtual Console. Like I think that unit has a lot to do with ports more than anything. But because it just didn't, the regular 3DS just doesn't have the processor power to do games like this.
I mean, it can graphically wise, but at the same time, as you could tell, like when you play Ocarina of Time on the N64 and you play it on 3DS, there's some obvious differences. The graphics look better, yes, but I noticed some other things feel kind of weird. I don't. It's hard to explain. It's just it doesn't feel the same.
Sony hires unknown British writer for Metal Gear Solid movie. Despite
Oh
recent
God.
drama behind the scenes of Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Solid series, Sony Pictures is pushing ahead with its big screen version of the franchise.
Maybe Keith or Sutherland will be the Snake. You know what? That's probably actually true.
Konami recently announced that Metal Gear Solid will continue on past Phantom Pain. It will do so without its creator. Yep, we already covered that.
Oh, God.
As the next step in the series, Konami has already resolved to develop a new Metal Gear title. We will be conducting auditions for main staff to lead development. Yeah, we already know that. That's old news being somebody attached to this movie news because basically there's nothing to say about the movie news. But I just feel like Konami is just the beginning of the end of Metal Gear Solid, and the only reason it's the beginning of the end instead of just the end is
Because
because
Phantom Pain's gonna be amazing.
no, not because of that. Obvious that no, that's not what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I don't have anything against Phantom Pain. What I'm saying is people for some reason hold on to hope for when they shouldn't. Like Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima made it, so whatever. Go play it, enjoy it, whatever, fine. But people are gonna hold on to hope with the games that Konami makes without him for like 2 or 3 games for no apparent reason. It's gonna get less sales. You can believe that. But there's gonna be people that just like, well, I just like Metal Gear. I know it's not as good as it used to be, but I'm just gonna go buy it and pre-order it and get all the DLCs and go pay to watch the movie and buy the movie on Blu-ray. And
I
it's
feel a little
like,
bit different about the movie though. That could be good, but it's likely not going to be.
I'm just saying, if you're a true fan, you should respect the creator's wishes that he doesn't want more games to be made and stop buying the damn things. But I know you guys
I can
won't.
tell you I'm not gonna be buying those unless they would give me review code, but they aren't going
A
to.
lot of people claimed that they're gonna stop buying them, and I don't believe that most people will stop. And this kind of goes
You better
into
believe me.
I believe you, but I don't believe most of the other people. And this kind of goes into what we talked about yesterday, which is, people they don't have money for a Wii U, they don't have money for an Xbox One, but they have money to buy, 7 more Metal Gears and 5 more
They
Assassin's
could
Creeds.
pre-order 4 games that are coming out in the same month and buy all of them.
They could afford all these
Shitty
milk
AAA games.
milking it and stretching it out, but they can't afford to get some new exclusives in their life. Which you can go check out our other podcast about exclusives if you want to hear about that. It's at the top of the RealGamerNewz.com site. Anyways, this has been RGN Daily News. This one went a little long because, thank God, we've been starved for news, and this is just a little droplet of news like Russian torture water or whatever. Alright, so thanks for checking us out. Have a good one. Peace.